Okay. Hi, everybody. Um, we're so excited for our upcoming dinner at the end of November to be with Rabbi Leo and Aliza D, or Rabbi Leo D and Aliza Teplitsky, as so many of us remember her from the Bayt community, who will be joining us for our gala on November 30th. And it's just such a pleasure, and we're so honored that both of you are coming. And it's almost like Aliza, I guess it's almost like a coming home of sorts, a homecoming of sorts that you're joining us with your new husband. And we wanted to get a chance to, before the dinner, to maybe share a few of your thoughts, your comments, reflections. I know that a marriage like this is can be complicated, can have challenges and new blessings. So maybe start off by telling us how did the two of you meet, and was it a match made in heaven immediately, or did it take some time to settle in? Please go ahead.
It took me a year before I was able to even consider dating seriously, and it was one particular Shabbat where my kids were not there for that Shabbat, the first time in a year, and I was by myself, invited myself out for a couple of meals, came back after Mincha on Shabbos afternoon to an empty house, and I remember crying for half an hour. And I asked myself, why are you crying? I realized because it was my first Shabbat alone for 30 years. And I suddenly asked myself, what can I do about it? And I realized I need to get married, remarried. And that was the aha moment. And then I started dating. And the first shadchan said to me, what's your spec? So I said, single, 40s, English speaking, no kids. And I then got a raft of different offers and went out many evenings with different ladies. And I realized after a while that this spec wasn't going to work for me because these girls who weren't married were in a very different place to where I was. And then I discovered, met a couple of, through another organization, divorcees, and started going out with divorcees. And I found I connected with them much better, but there were other problems in terms of kids and where you want to live and many other different complexities. By the time Point of Contact, which is this Shadchan agency in Israel for Olim, contacted me and they asked me what I'm looking for. I said, I'm looking for a Hebrew-speaking divorcee with kids. So that was my spec. And then enter enter Aliza.
So little did you know, I was exactly what he was looking for. I just not at the time. For me, you guys all know, I grew up in Toronto. I left at the age of 21 after graduating New York, and I moved to New York for a little bit, and then made Aliyah on my own. Since then, my family joined me, my parents and both of my sisters, which was really exciting. And so my specs basically stayed the same all the time. I was looking for a good person. Didn't really care about the details. So I was contacted by my shadchanit. We had been working together for about 7 years, and she sent me a message asking if I was single. Now, at the time, I had just come out of a fairly difficult relationship, and I was really not sure what I wanted. But I trusted her, and she said, I'm going to send you a photo and I'm going to send you a profile. I don't want you to say no, which I never did, but she just knew that my first gut reaction was going to be that this is too big for me, which it was. I thought I was
When
wrong
you say too big for you, it's
because
because of the history of the
because of
D
the history,
family.
because of who he is, because of all I knew was what I saw on the news. I don't know anything, right? Um, but he's a famous person in Israel, and that also felt like a lot. Um, and so I first said no, and she said, wait, take a deep breath, don't say no. She sent me his profile, which was everything that's not me. It was divorced or widow, children, Hebrew speaking. And I said to her, this is not, he doesn't want me. And again, with my dating history, I'd been dating for many years, and I just felt like it's not worth my time if the person's not really interested. Thank God I was wrong, and thank God he was wrong. Um, and yeah, we went out. And then it was pretty quick after that.
my shadchanit said, look at this, don't say no. I said, not really what I'm looking for anymore. And in the end, she convinced me, and I said, okay, well, we can go out for a quick, short snack or something. I have a Tuesday night free, and Aliza took that literally.
I'm a very literal person for any of you who remember me. And when he said we're going to do small bites, so I thought, okay, the responsibility is on me. He's coming to Jerusalem. I'll find a place. And I didn't want to take him to Emek Rephaim, the middle of Jerusalem. What am I going to, how am I going to explain that? So there's this cute little tapas place near the botanical gardens, just really off the derech. And I was like, okay, great, we'll go there. And it's just like literally small plates. And the whole date he kept saying, "What's with this place? Why is the food so small? Why do we have to keep getting up to get our plates?" But
And you said, well, you asked for a small bite, you got a small bite. Yeah,
So
exactly.
we were there
Once you
for
know what you want in life,
yeah,
right?
we were there for about 3 hours, and then I invited her out every night for the next 3 months, and then we I proposed. That was
amazing. Well, listen, first of all, I think your story is inspirational for that reason alone, in that for those who are watching who are still single, and we know that there are many, especially both people in Chutz La'aretz and people who are in Israel who have made Aliyah. If you're watching this, what would be your words of chizuk to those people?
okay. So I would say in the Gemara, Rabbi Eliezer interprets the posuk that Chava, Eve, is described as a kenegdo, as a helper against him, against Adam. And in one of his interpretations, he says, if the man merits the woman, then she is against him. And if he doesn't merit her, she hits him. And this sounds like quite an odd explanation of the verse. In other words, the upside of getting married is that your spouse is your critic, and the downside is that you'll fight. But actually, that's my experience. That a good pairing is where you respect the other person and you like their feedback and you value their feedback, and they can help you to be a better person, and vice versa. And it's not about finding somebody who you agree with and that you're identical to. And in a sense, I guess I was looking for, initially, at some point, I was looking for another divorcee or a widow or someone who had a very similar experience to me in life. But in fact, I ended up with Aliza, who was in a very different place. But actually, I value her opinions, and I respect her from the beginning. I tried to before the first date, I WhatsApp video called her when we made the first contact. And the reason I did that was because I went to so many first dates where after about 5 seconds, I realized this wasn't going to work. And I realized after a while, if I do a video call, then I can make that decision quickly. I don't have to waste an evening going to a cafe. But Aliza rejected my video call and called me back 5 minutes later by telephone and made sure that we went out. And immediately I realized here's somebody who's got an opinion, who knows what she wants, and I have a lot of respect for that.
Bikitsur, expand your vistas. In other words, don't limit yourself in what you think you're going to be
Yeah,
needing in a mate. Yeah,
I would say for me, I said yes to almost everything because you just really don't know. You really have no idea
right,
where anything is going to
right.
come from. I'll
Mhm.
tell you very briefly, I mentioned that I had just come out of this relationship and it was kind of sitting on me. And right before I got his profile, oh no, an hour after I got his profile, actually, I went to the restaurant at my work. I work at Wix, and I got a fortune cookie that said that someone is going to love you very much and he's going to come into your life very soon. And right before I got his profile, I had a conversation with someone and I said, I think you need to let go of the bad to let in the good. And so I think it's all about preparation for yourself, but also being open and willing to accept when things come to you.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so the other lesson is eat lots of fortune cookies, right?
Read them, just
Oh,
read the cookie. You don't
yeah,
have to.
read them, read them. You don't have to eat them. Okay. I have to just observe in the Sifrei Chassidut, they talk about this concept of tzimtzum, that the way a person emulates Hashem is by, in some way, reducing themselves to make room for the other. And I have to say that what I find to be so extraordinary about this shidduch, about this relationship, is that you both had to be mitzamtzem yourselves in order to make this work. I mean, in a sense, every marriage relies on the tzimtzum, the reduction or the withdrawal of the one spouse to make room for the other spouse. But I think in your case, it's extraordinarily the case because Rabbi D, your need for to be mitzamtzem yourself and your history and your wife aleha shalom and your daughters aleha shalom, in order to be able to make room for Aliza. And Aliza, your great, I guess I would say, courage in knowing that there's all this very rich history, these very beloved people in Rabbi D's history, and you're saying that, you know what, I know that I'll be able to reduce myself to conform to that and accept that reality, and at the same time fill Rabbi D's life with the love that he once had. I don't know if I'm saying it well or
No,
if
I
I'm
think
saying
I
it
agree with
poorly.
you, and I agree with you on one hand. On the other hand, I would say Tzimtzum in the name of Gdila, right? Tzimtzum in order for growth. So, of course,
Yes.
there's a way you step back from who you may be as a single individual person in order for the unit to grow.
I'd say that I think that the sim happens when you take away your ego, and I think that to a certain extent, being through trauma, in my case, it knocks your ego and makes you more open to life and to things around you. And I think that Aliza had been through, a traumatic experience with the previous, with previous shidachim and so forth. And that knocked her as well. And I think when we both were at that point where we were open-minded and we dropped our egos a bit, then we had some space for each other.
Well, it's so wonderful that you're willing to share this with us, and you really are an inspiration to so many people, and we're very much looking forward to hearing to hearing Rabbi D and to seeing you both at the dinner coming up in just a few days. I just wanted to say thank you and to have a chance to spend just a few minutes with you in advance. And thank you. Hashem should give you continued hatzlacha to continue your work, spread a beautiful message of love and Torah and happiness to all of those who have a chance to be able to bask in your presence. And we look forward to seeing you soon in person.
Thank you. We're
Thank you.
looking forward
See
to
you
it.
soon.
See you then.
Thank you. Kol tov, be well.
Thank
Bye.
you.